Hello friends, welcome to CS Tuts. Today we are going to discuss about Murray machine. Murray machine is a finite automata just similar to our DFA and NFA. But the only difference is that in this output is associated with each state. Let's take an example. Suppose we talk about a DFA. So in case of DFA, suppose we are on the state Q0 and we read a input symbol as 0. Then we will move to the state Q1. Now, in this case, there was no output associated with any of the states. But in case of a Murray machine, let's say we are on the state Q0. Then with the state Q0, there is some output associated. For example, let's take A as the output associated with the state Q0. Now, reading a input symbol 0, if we move to state Q1, then there is an output associated with the state Q1 also. Let's take an example of the output as B. So, the output associated with the state Q1 is B. In other words, we can say that when we are on the state Q0, we will get an output as A, and reading the input symbol 0, we move to a new state that is Q1 and we will obtain an output as B. Now, when we talk about the mathematical representation of a Murray machine, so Murray machine is represented using 6 tuples. So, the 6 tuples for the Murray machine are capital Q, summation, capital delta, small delta, lambda dash, Q0. Now, over here we can see that Murray machine is represented using MO. Now, let's talk about the 6 tuples of the Murray machine. So, the first tuple is our capital Q. Capital Q is a non-empty finite set of states in Murray machine. That means capital Q set cannot be empty and it has countable number of states. Then the second set is summation, that is a non-empty finite set of input symbols. Then the third tuple is our capital delta and it is a non-empty finite set of output symbols. Now, if we talk about a DFA or NFA, so capital delta was not present in the mathematical representation because there was no output associated with the states of the DFA. But in case of Murray machine, there are output associated with each and every state. That's why capital delta is present over here. From here, we can say that why a Murray machine is a finite automata. Since a Murray machine consists of finite set of states, it consists of finite set of input symbols and finite set of output symbols. That's why it is an example of finite automata. Now next is our small delta. Small delta is a transition function that takes two arguments. The first argument is the input state and the another argument is the input symbol from summation, and as a result it produces subset of the set capital Q. Now let's take an example. So according to the example, what we can say that delta is the transition function and it takes the two arguments. The first one is the input state. Let's say we are currently on the state Q0 and we are reading an input symbol that is, for example, 0, and we are moving to a next state that is our Q1 and it is represented in the form of a set. Now, if we are only moving to one state, then it is only Q1 in this set. If we are moving to two states, then there will be both the states in the set, and hence it is called, thus we can say that the output is a subset of capital Q, that is the set of states. So this is the representation of a transition function. As already discussed many a times before, that delta can be represented in three ways. We can represent it in the form of a transition function. We can represent it in the form of a transition diagram as shown just right now in the form of the diagram. For example, like this, Q0A. So this is the form of the diagram in which the delta can be represented. Now, delta can also be represented in the form of a table like this. We are going to discuss it later. Now, the next tuple is our Q0. Q0 is the initial state of the Murray machine M0 and Q naught belongs to capital Q. That means it belongs to the set of states capital Q. Now, the next tuple is lambda dash. If we talk about lambda dash, it is a mapping function that maps capital Q to capital delta. That means it takes an argument as the state and it provides the output as an output of this particular function. For example, let's say we are on the state Q naught. Then lambda dash will tell us that what is the output associated with the state Q naught. For example, suppose with the state Q naught, the output associated is A. So that means the output is represented on the right hand side of this particular function. So lambda dash provides us a mapping function to map capital Q to delta. Capital Q, that means the state, to the output that is represented using capital delta. Now, if we compare the tuples of the Moore machine with the tuples of DFA, so let's write the DFA tuples over here. So capital Q, summation, then there is delta, then Q naught, and then there was a F. So if we talk about the tuples of DFA, there are some common tuples. For example, capital Q, summation are common in Moore machine and in case of our DFA. But delta is not present in DFA. The reason is that because in DFA there is no output associated with the states. But in case of Moore machine, there is an output associated with the states. That's why delta is present in Moore machine but not present in case of DFA. Now, small delta is common for both Moore machine and DFA. Now, next is our Q naught. Q naught is also common for the both. The initial state is same in case of DFA and in case of Moore machine also. But if we talk about lambda dash, so lambda dash tells us the output associated with each state. That's why DFA doesn't have an output associated with each state. That's why lambda dash is not present in the tuples of the DFA. Now, if we talk about the tuples of the DFA, it has a tuple as capital F, that is a final state, but it is not present in case of Moore machine. So, why final state is not present in Moore machine? Because whenever we talk about a DFA, we talk about the acceptance of a string, and we say that whenever we reach to the final state, it means that our string is accepted. But in case of Moore machine, we are not talking about the acceptance of a string. We are talking about the output associated with each state. That means whenever we are providing some input, we will be obtaining some output. That's why we are not talking about any final state. There is no final state. Instead, each and every state produces some output. Now, let's move further. Let's see that how a Moore machine can be represented in the form of a table. So, if we see, the Moore machine has the columns named as present state, that is the current state on which we currently are. Then it represents the next state corresponding to the input. So, whatever the input we provide, based on this, the next state will be obtained. And the output associated with each state. So, for example, for state Q naught, the output is associated is 0. For state Q1, output associated is 1. For Q2, it's 0. And for Q3, it's again 0. Now, if we talk about the transition function or the transition table in case of DFA, so it was different from Moore machine. In case of DFA, the transition table consists of just 3 columns. So, the starting 3 columns were present in the transition table of the DFA, but the last column, that is the column of the output, was not present in case of a DFA. Because in case of DFA, output is not associated with the states, that's why this column was not present. But in case of a Moore machine, we have an extra column that is named as a output. Now, let's see that how this table can be interpreted. For example, suppose currently we are on the state Q naught. Let's take it as an initial state. So, initial state is represented by a arrow in its starting. Now, let's take Q naught as our initial state and the output associated with this state is 0. So with the state Q0, we are associating the output as 0. Now, while reading the input symbol 0, we will move to the next state Q1. So when we are reading a input symbol 0, we are moving to a state Q1. Now, if we check, the output associated with the state Q1 is 1. So we will write 1 over here. Now, again, we will check for a state Q0, if we are reading 0, we are moving to state Q1. And if we are reading 1, we are again moving to state Q1. So it can be represented like 0, 1, because reading both 0 and 1, we are moving to state Q1. Now, while we are on the state Q1 and reading a 0, we are on the same state Q1. That means there is a loop for the input 0. Now, similarly, when we are on the state Q1 and reading a 1, we are moving to a state Q2. So, reading a 1, we are moving to state Q2, and let's check the output associated with the state Q2. So, for state Q2, the output associated is 0. So, let's write over here the output as 0. Now, let's take for the state Q2. When we are on the state Q2 and we are reading a 0, we are on the same state Q2. That means there is a loop for 0 input, and then if we take the input 1, we are moving to our next state Q3. Let's say there is a state Q3 and let's check the output associated with the state Q3. So the output is 0. So we will write a 0 over here. So reading a input symbol as 1, we are moving to the state Q3. Now while we are on the state Q3 and we are reading a input as 0, so we will remain on the same state Q3. That means there is a loop on the state Q3 for a 0. So we can say that there is a loop for the input symbol 0. Now when we are on the state Q3 and we are reading the input symbol as 1, then we are moving to the state Q0. So when we are reading the input symbol as 1, we are moving to the state Q0. So this table can be represented in the form of a transition graph or transition diagram in this way. So over here we can see that how a transition diagram can be represented for a Moore machine and how a table can be represented for a Moore machine. Now, whenever we talk about any machine, we know that it cannot be represented only using the delta, that is our transition function. We require to represent all the tuples that are used to represent a machine. So in case of a Moore machine, there are 6 tuples. So all the 6 tuples are required to be represented. So over here, capital Q is the set of states, and we will see that what are the unique states. So we can find that there are 4 unique states. So capital Q is a set of Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3. Now summation is the set which consists of the input symbol. So there are only 2 input symbols, 0 and 1. So 0 and 1 belongs to the set summation. Now the next tuple is our capital delta. Capital delta represents the outputs. So we can see the unique output are 0 and 1. So we will write 0, 1 as the symbols of the set delta, capital delta. Now, one thing to be kept in mind is that summation and delta are not same. So, as the output, we can have the same symbols as the input, but it is not mandatory. We can also have the output as A, B, A, A. So, in that case, the capital delta set will consist of the elements as A, B. So it means that these two sets are unique, and the symbols, if they are having the same symbols, that means it is a coincidence and it is not mandatory. Now lambda dash represents the output associated with each state. So for state Q0, the output associated is 0. So lambda dash Q0 is equal to 0. For state Q1, the output associated is 1. That means lambda dash Q1 is equal to 1. Q2 output is 0. So lambda dash Q2 equal to 0 and lambda dash Q3 is again equal to 0. So that's all about the Moore machine. Thank you for watching our video. Please like and subscribe our channel CS Tudes.